I realised that I can't authentically continue to write and publish my book, but I can't put those works out if a chunk of it is generated that way. And it made me think, like, over all the years, I've done this out of fear. And it is ultimately that fear of being seen as you truly are.
This is the Born to be Brilliant podcast, helping you harness the habits and unlock the tools to bring you more meaning, vibrance, and the personal power to help you shine like the diamond you are.
Hiding in plain sight, it's something that loads of us do. And there was a moment when I realised that is exactly what I've been doing. So in this episode, I'm going to be breaking down for you how I realised it after all this time, what it actually means and what that looks like, and my intentions in overcoming that, and how I think that would help any entrepreneur, especially somebody with a purpose-led business that is building something that is very much coming from them, coming from their heart and soul. And, you know, we're not talking big team people here. So what was the moment? Honestly, I think it was in seeing it externally in others. So even though there was a little bit of a possibly an inner wisdom of knowing about myself, it's really hard, isn't it? Because we don't really know how people perceive us. We can only guess. I, as anyone that knows me will know, am a complete self-confessed tech geek. I love all things to do with systems and technology and leveraging automations, and AI has a big part in that now. And so things that create efficiencies like light me up, and things that are clever. And who doesn't like a shortcut, right? If something can get done more effectively. And I'm somebody who goes at like 100 miles an hour. So if I can use things to help me do things faster and more effectively, I want to do that, because it means that I can then apply more of my genius to where that's best put. But that can be a trap if we're not careful. And sometimes we can be good at things, and that could be to our detriment. So the moment for me, well, there was a couple of moments. One was very recent. But the moment for me was the first one was reading somebody's content. So I was reading something that they had written. And it wasn't one of those really obvious ones where, you know, where you can just like tell a million miles away that it's AI. Those are really obvious. I'm pretty sure most people can tell that sort of thing now. It was something a little more subtle. However, I could still see the AI-isms in it. And this was somebody credible, and this was content that I liked, and there was nothing wrong with it. But I could tell. And so it just lost something. And I wasn't really sure what. At that point, I couldn't really name it. Okay. I couldn't really explain it. I just felt myself distance. Right. And then there's like a few layers to this. So the next occurrence was for me, like myself. I was working on something, and this is like, I'm being really, really transparent here. Like, and I hope that helps, because I think that that's where the value actually is. And that's the point of what I'm saying. So my book that I'm working on, Born to be Brilliant, Stop Being the Reason the World Can't Hear You, is its working title. And that could change, but that is at the moment the title. And the whole point of the book is about the courage to be seen as you truly are, to show up, to use your voice, because that's what you're here to do, and all the reasons that we often don't, and that we, in my opinion, absolutely cannot die with that song still inside us, as I call it. So my keynote is don't leave your song unsung. And again, same sort of theme. But what occurred to me, and ironically, it was when doing some keynote prep work, I was leveraging AI and the LLM I was using, or dumping like thoughts and pieces and wanting to structure everything that was in my head in the mess into something. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I actually think that that's really, really useful. It can be a really useful tool for that. What I wanted was the overview for me to then work from. But what I got yes, I did get an overview, and yes, the exercise was useful, but I allowed it to go too far. So I gave it too much autonomy. And what I got out was, well, my speaker coach calls it smoothing over, and I get what she means. My words, I feel like it loses the spark, it loses the magic. So it's articulately great, it's accurate, it's sound, it makes sense, it's intelligent, but it hasn't got that zest. And it's like the AI doesn't even know, but it sort of takes that out. Even if it can quote you back sometimes and use your exact words, some kind of magic is missing. So there's a really interesting layer to this as well. So I thought it would be a good working document to then go in and refine, but I wanted it to help capture my thoughts. But what it actually did was it could have left me feeling kind of trapped and confined by it. And that's not the idea, is it? That's not helpful. And so I ended up finding it really too constricting. I actually just threw it out completely. And I just I went through everything, but when it was then all really, really clear, I then just got a complete blank page and I just wrote from my own head. And what I got out was so much better and so me. And nobody, no human or technology out there could recreate or replicate that. It's emotive, it's powerful, it's going to move people. So that was one realization. And then the next part of this that I want to share with you as the kind of the reveal of why this has all come to the forefront, and I'm going to tell you what we can do about this, is when it comes to content, this is the next bit, the content, again, if I don't have a system, so I have to intellectualize it and I need a system, I need a process, otherwise it won't happen. And that's okay. Like I'm okay about that, about myself. And actually, I think a lot of people would benefit from being that way, because it's like the old saying of, look, if it's not in the diary, it won't happen. And if the system isn't there in the business, it won't happen. If it's too haphazard and as and when you feel like it, it's not consistent, and consistency is key. It's like you don't just work out when you feel like it. If you want to be in good shape, you have to do it when you do feel like it and when you don't feel like it, and it needs to be consistent. And it's not easy to do that with content for various reasons, especially good content. So I would structure and plan and have a process and leverage tools to make sure I could get the message out there. But and knowing the whole time, knowing that nothing ever hits or lands or comes out quite as magical as when it's done raw, real, in the moment, straight up. The whole, I've had this idea, I'm going to grab my phone and do it now. Like, it's never quite the same if you bank it for later. But you need to some extent bank some stuff and forward plan or put things in for later, because it ultimately is business. It isn't just a social account for personal fun and sharing your album. It is strategic, and so it does need a certain amount of strategy to it, yes. But again, if we take that too far, we can lose the magic. And something I did, maybe you knew, and if you did, fair play to you. I'm going to tell you now anyway. And if you didn't, that's okay. Great. I pulled it off to some extent. But it's the next layer of this, which is scripted content. So I could go to camera, and I'm pretty good at auto cue. Like, I'm back before we had any apps that did this on computers. I did actual television work with filming crews and proper teleprompters inside of a full-on television camera. And I was always complimented by broadcasters at how well I could auto cue. But that's because I can speak to camera and on stage, and I know how to, I guess, perform just like a news anchor would, right? They know how to deliver that, and I could do that well. I'm expressive naturally, and so that wasn't difficult for me. And anyone can learn that, by the way, through practice. You don't just have to be good at it. But because I knew I could do that, and I would be like, right, I'm in a hurry. I need 4 podcast episodes nailed. Right, this is what's going to happen. And then I'm going to throw together a script, and then I'm going to put the script up. Now, I have done that before, and I've written the script. This is before we had the AI tools that we have. Written years and years ago, written scripts fully myself, my writing, and read them on auto cue. And actually, you wouldn't know, and they are powerful and real. But when I've used AI to take my thoughts and some of my verbatim words and put scripts together for me, I've even felt a little, I guess robotic is a word, but I guess a little empty, a little lacking in spark and magic when reading them. And so right now I'm talking straight into my microphone and my camera because I video record my podcast as well, and every word I'm saying is coming straight from my brain and out of my mouth, which is why it will be imperfect, and we will edit a few bits. We don't do major edits on this podcast though. We want it to be really real. And I did a run of episodes recently, and they were me reading a script that AI had written for me based on my inputs, 100%, still my stuff. And again, some of my verbatim quotes that I would ask it to put in. But nevertheless, the structure and the flow of it wasn't actually mine. And I could tell definitely. And I wasn't sure whether or not my audience would be able to tell. And I'd be really interested to know how many people could genuinely, honestly tell. But this is the thing. It wasn't me doing it that made me go, oh God, it was others. So I saw in the past week, I have listened to on an audio in the car and watched on somebody doing a video take, two different people entirely, people who I like and respect, by the way, and people who are really bloody good at what they do. And both of them are 100% reading an AI script and really well, right? And I don't know how many people would be able to tell, but if I can, I'm sure everyone can, right? And so the first one I was only listening to, so I have no idea how that may have come across on camera. And I could tell purely by the words, the sentence structures, the way it was said. I could just tell. The second one, she is very like me, and she was to camera, and she was able to read her auto cue really, really well. And she expressed and articulated and gesticulated and performed it to camera in a way that you would find it really, really hard to tell. The performance, the delivery of it was great. Honestly, it was. But I still knew that was a script by AI. Now, I also know her and her work well enough to know that she would have prompted the heck out of it. It did have her knowledge, her expertise, her thoughts, her thought leadership, like, was absolutely in there, but it was delivered in language, structure that wasn't hers. Now, what's wrong with that? You might say, like, so who cares? Well, the reason I think that becomes a problem is because then the emphasis or what I'm remembering is I'm remembering that's an AI script, not, I don't even know what it was about. Honestly, with both of those people, right now, I couldn't tell you what the episodes were about because my focus had shifted from the subject matter to I can see what they're doing here. And then my head went down the whole, how do I feel about this? Is this a good thing? Why, what happens if we all do this? And the problem is if we do all do if we take these shortcuts to that level, because yes, it means we could churn out more and more content, but more and more flat content. That's the only way I can describe it. It's literally like it's just flat. It's got no color and the imperfections that make it human, the passion that comes out only when your passion will peak at points in what you're saying because you're really feeling it, and that's what makes things unique. No matter how well you prompt something, if you're going to read a script, it is never going to come out as you are. if you just go raw. And if you're like, but I don't have the time, I'm not good at it, all of those things, sure, okay, fine. But practice, you'll get better. And I'm sure that you will find that the impact you have from an imperfect, unpolished thing will be so much greater, even if it is messy. Even if it is messy at the beginning, and that's okay, because it's real and it's you. So the next bit of this is the whole point of the hiding in plain sight. Okay, I realized that I can't authentically continue to write and publish my book, which is my deepest, most vulnerable personal work ever, deliver my keynote on the stage, which is a tearjerker and a game changer. It's powerful stuff. And those two things, they're pure me. They are pure me. There is no AI delivery in there. But I can't put those works out into the world if all the rest of my stuff and my content or whatever, not all of it, but if a chunk of it is generated that way. And it made me think, like, over all the years, I've done this out of fear. And it is ultimately that fear of being seen as you truly are. That doesn't mean putting out and only showing up with something fake or performing something that isn't real. It just means that you're only showing the parts of you that feel ready or polished or safe, or which is always then going to only be a sort of a dilution of you. The whole of you, the depths of you, that's vulnerable and brave. And to be seen fully in that way is a whole nother level. So there are people out there that, you know, you might be like, oh, but I don't want to be someone who shares all of this, that, and the other, and I'm not interested in that. I'm not, to be honest. Like, I'm not somebody that feels like, oh, I'm feeling really upset, quick, I better capture this crying on camera. I don't feel the need. Like, personal life is personal. If you have something that you are grieving or managing or dealing with, you do not have to show up and share that with the world. Like, oh my God, no. You can keep your personal life personal. It's not about that. And if I'm honest, I do find that a little bit cringy. And that's no disrespect to anybody that likes that. Do it. If you like it, do it. But I personally don't. So I'm not going to go and do that, because to me, that is performing. That in itself is performing, because it's contrived in the sense of, oh, I must quickly capture this moment of sheer despair and share it with the world, because why? Because I need to be authentic. To me, that's like inauthentic in a paradoxical way. So keep what you want to keep private. Share like what you feel you want to share it, but don't filter. And you know, we do filter. We go, well, if this is polished enough, or if this is aligned enough. And especially because we're talking about business here. So we want to make sure that it's got commercial strategy behind it. Like, that's not the point of social media, like, and or whatever you call it these days. But content, any of it, anywhere, it doesn't even have to be social media, right? The content, when it comes from you, if it's coming from you, the person, it's making it all of you, the person. So I'm not here to give you a lecture. I'm here to share with you the self-lecture that I've given myself, which is I'm going to stop hiding in plain sight, because people will say, but you're visible. Oh, but you come across really confident, which I find funny. People who know me well know that I brick it all the time. Like, I'm so, what's the word, fragile and self-conscious and all the things. I can be confident about the things I feel confident about, but when it comes to, like, literally, I feel like those who can't see me on camera right now, like, it's almost like there's this heart-centered part of you inside, and it's like the Superman thing of like ripping off the vest and be like, here I am, here's all of me, the inner workings and the impurities and the real stuff. I think that I think that really, really matters. So my content is now going to be way more vloggy and the Entrepreneur Diaries, as I call it, because, and I'm going to be running this as like a whole series on this podcast as well, the Entrepreneur Diaries, because even my guests, I want my guests on here not to teach you something. You're not here for information. It's to learn from their stories, their real experiences for real. And I think that is so important. So I guess then main thing that I want you guys to take away with this is that understanding that how to be as you can, while giving yourself grace of honoring the fact that business does still need strategy and structure. You do still need frameworks, you do still need systems, you do still need consistency. And it isn't about throwing it all out, as tempting as it may be. I'm not here to say to you, oh yeah, just, scrap every process and just show up when you feel like it and just share everything. I know that if I'm left to those devices, what I will do is I will show up as and when I have all my big like brain moments in a big run. So you'll get like loads of great juice, and then it'll be like all in a big row, and then radio silence for a while because I'm having one of those weeks where I'm very inward and I've got my head down or I'm working on something. But that doesn't serve my audience. So to be consistent, you do need a flow, you do need consistency, and you can use tools like AI and automations and things to leverage that consistency aspect and keep your good stuff coming out all the time. But then you need to pepper in the you parts and being as you can absolutely be when you do that. I have definitely allowed some of these automations and technical advances to do too much of the heavy lifting for me. I mean, it can do the heavy lifting, let's face it. You can do the good stuff, but I've allowed it too much autonomy, I think. But that rawness of just showing up as you, for me, I know the rawness of just being me without a shadow of a doubt always hits differently. So consistency can be covered. Even when I'm busy with life, I can go and be busy with life and be present. Like, God, I set Claude Co-work up on tasks and then go out and do something, and actually it feels great because stuff gets done and I don't have to be bound and shackled to my desk. But that's the thing. I would rather have the tech doing something for me while I'm out doing my living of life, and then maybe sharing that with you guys, so you get to see like the real way of being able to live a great life and have a great business simultaneously, and not have to not have to pick one or sacrifice one for the other. I hope this has been helpful in really just giving you that understanding that you can be consistent and strategic, and you can show up fully as you at the same time. So it's not like you don't need to fall in the trap of trying to be everywhere. And this is the thing. I've definitely done this. It's like suddenly you're everywhere. You're on every platform. You're everywhere, but actually you're nowhere, because it's so empty and flat. So richness of showing up as you, consistency of being in all those places, so you're not going, oh no, I can't do that and that and that and that. So simple. And I just think that that's a really important message to understand, that you can do that. And I'm going to lead by example, and I'm going to show that I can do that. And actually, by the time this episode comes out, because this is being recorded approximately 4 weeks or so ahead of when it will air, maybe 5. So I would like to think that by the time you listen to this, you will have seen in recent times in my content and how I show up that I am walking this talk and leading by example, because it's not easy for me. And if I can do it, then I'm sure all of you can as well. And I want to inspire that action. So please do share this episode with somebody that you know needs to hear it, because I know you know someone that needs to hear this. And I would love to hear from you with any feedback or comments. If you can like or review this podcast, we can get more people seeing it, because I don't think anywhere near enough people yet know about the Born to be Brilliant podcast. And everything that I talk about can be found and supported through my community at eSchool, Entrepreneur School, where we also do complete step-by-step walkthroughs on how to do pretty much everything you could need in business. Message me or look at the show notes for links, and I will see you next time.
I hope you enjoyed this episode, and remember, go out there and shine your light bright, because you were born to be brilliant.